All right, dude, we are live. What's up, guys? This is Dem Keys, and welcome to the first stream of 2025. Man, 2024 was a productive year. Sure, the year had its ups and downs for me, as it does for basically everyone else. But it was a productive year. It was a pretty productive year. I made a lot of progress. I got started with a bunch of things that I wanted to get started with, and I made more progress in things that I was already doing, and I wanted to make progress in them. So overall, it was a pretty productive year, and I'm happy. I'm happy with the progress that I made. Cutane, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. I hope you're doing well. Enjoy the lurk. We are going to be having a bit of a yap sesh today. Some yapperoni, if you will. Uh, I don't know. Maybe we might get into some studies and research. Also, Happy New Year, by the way. I don't know if I said Happy New Year at the beginning of the stream, but yes, Happy New Year to everyone. I'm hoping that this year will be just as much, if not more, productive than last year. And I have a bunch of plans. I have a bunch of, I don't know what to call them, goals, I guess. I'm not a resolutions kind of person. I don't make New Year's resolutions. But I do have a couple of goals that I've set up, that I've set in mind, set up in mind. I'm not sure how to say that. But yeah, I do have a couple of goals that I would definitely like to accomplish. Um, most of them are with most of them are to do with making progress in a bunch of things. We spoke about this the last stream. I think the last stream was what, 4 or 5 days ago. I don't remember. I think it was on the 28th. I think it was on the 28th of December last year, or maybe it was the 29th. I don't remember. I was supposed to stream the next day, but then something came up and I wasn't able to stream because of that. But yeah, dude. Here's to hoping that this year is just as productive, if not more productive than the last. I think my list that I was working on last stream is still here. This is the gist of it. Wait, where's that list? Here. No, this is not the list. This is the list. So yeah, this is what I this is I would say this is the list. I was about to say the list of it. This is the gist of it. There might be more stuff here and there. So okay, tutorials. I want to get back into making tutorials. I've been preparing material for tutorials on and off. It takes some time because I have to do the research and then I have to find a good way to present the tutorial. Um, and I have to find a way to present it in such a way that not only will it be easier for people to understand, but I should also be happy with the format of the. I'm not sure how to say this, but like the tutorials have to be structured in a certain way. I like to teach things in a certain way, and different tutorials I like to teach them in different ways. So I need to structure the tutorial in that way that I'm satisfied with the way that material is being taught. Not only that, I also have to structure it in such a way that I would later be able to um, shorten the tutorials. Because usually what I do after recording the video is my editing is 90% or maybe 95% just cutting out dead air and cutting out any mistakes that might have happened. just basic editing stuff to make the video much smaller and therefore more packed with information and uh, not so filled with dead air. I'm not sure what other words to use to describe it, but basically, that's how I like to make my tutorials. I like to make them packed with information because that's also how I like to watch other people's tutorials. Generally, when I'm watching a video, an informative video, not entertaining one. Generally, when I'm watching an educational or informative video on YouTube, I find myself increasing the video speed to 1.25 or 1.5, and in some cases I've had to increase it to even 2, I think, or was it 1.75? I think it was 2 or 1.75. Basically, yeah, I have to increase the speed in quite a few cases. With my own tutorials, I've noticed because of the way that I do the editing, I don't have to do that. Though, I mean, I'm the person that made the tutorial, so to be fair, maybe I think that the speed is fast enough, and maybe other people who are watching it may not think so. But on a bunch of my tutorials, especially the ones that went viral, people have given compliments. People have given positive feedback. They've mentioned that the tutorial was packed with information. The tutorial was incredibly helpful. It was nice and fast. It was concise. It was a bunch of there was a bunch of positive feedback, and out of that, maybe 0.1%, like one of my videos, which went, I want to say viral, but like, I mean, kind of, it went kind of viral. I think it got like 500,000 views. I don't remember. It was a video in which I was showing how to create trails with Unity's particle system, but without using the trails module, because Unity's particle system, the Shuriken particle system, it has a trails module, which you can use to, of course, create different types of trails. But I figured out a different way to create trails, which can allow you to, it can give you a little more freedom in terms of what kinds of designs you can create using the trails. And so I tried to show off those methods, and turns out, and okay, this is kind of interesting. Like, from this tutorial, I learned that quite often people are looking for creative ways to use the tools, and not everything has to be geared towards game dev. Because back when I had made that tutorial, I remember the first few comments that I got. Believe it or not, the first few comments that I got, while many of them were positive, one comment I got saying that this is not that great for performance, so this is not going to perform very well on mobile devices. And it was mainly the reason they were saying that was because of the particle count in the particle system, because certain effects, they are certain trails effects that I was showing, they would require a bigger number of particles, and that would increase the amount of load that that particle effect would have. That was one of the comments. Another comment was a person saying that the video is way too fast, and they were like, my guy, no one is going to watch the video if they can't understand what you're saying. And funny enough, that tutorial ended up being one of my best performing tutorials because apparently everyone liked it. But anyways, I don't want to be smug about that. What was I talking about? There was a reason I was saying this. Yeah. So from that tutorial, I learned that not all of the tutorials have to be geared towards game dev, because initially I was making a bunch of the tutorials that I was making, even back then, they were geared more towards game dev. But just in general, using the Unity game engine. I don't even remember if I was specifically gearing it towards game dev, but at the time I didn't know too much about the other use cases of Unity. I learned later on that, oh yeah, people use Unity for things other than game dev. And then I started looking into all of that. And one of the use cases is something that I'm currently doing. Give me a second. One of the use cases is something that I'm currently doing, which is a VTuber app. This is not a game at all. This is my own VTubing app that I've set up. Vinyan, that's another much more feature-rich VTubing app that is also made in Unity. I don't remember if VTube Studio is made in Unity or not, so I don't wanna say anything about that. I think I remember reading somewhere that it was running in Unity. I don't I don't I don't remember. I'm not sure. I don't want to give out wrong information, but yeah, the point is, Unity. At a certain point, I realized that Unity isn't just a game engine. Just like how Blender isn't just an animation software, or yeah, I guess that's a good example. Just like how Blender isn't just a 3D animation software, Unity isn't just a game engine. Unity is a digital content creation tool, and you can use it to create whatever kind of digital content you want. So, the tutorials that I'm making, they don't necessarily have to be geared towards game dev. And I'm going to be super honest. I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't want to gear my tutorials towards just game dev. What I want to do is I want to show people how to use these tools in creative ways, and then depending on what their specific scenario is, uh, they can use they can use the tools in that way. So I'm going to teach people how to make things using the tools that are provided, and depending on the specific use case that somebody has, they could either use my technique as it is, or they could change it so that it fits their purpose much better. But yeah, I want to make more tutorials. Uh, Hopefully, I'll be starting this soon. I'm glad that I looked at this list today on stream, because I'd forgotten that I had written down tutorials. Because like dude, I've got so many other things going on now that it's like I just forget, dude. Okay, what else? More progress on the VTuber app. There's definitely going to be more progress on the VTuber app. There's going to be lots more progress. I've been spending time learning more about Git. It's kind of interesting because years ago I'd gotten into Git and I'd started using Git as well, mainly from the command line, and there was also a GUI app. I think I was using Source Tree. I don't remember. But I didn't understand too much about what was going on. I got like the basic idea that, okay, this is a repository and it has the main files. You can create your own working copy of it, and then you can make your changes, and then you can commit those changes and push those changes and stuff like that. So a bunch of people can collaborate on a project together, right? I understood a very I had like a very high level understanding of it. What I didn't have was the low level understanding. In this case, the low level understanding is having a low level understanding is a good thing in this case, just, in case that wasn't evident. I feel like having a low level understanding of Git, it does help. Because I mean, you can get away with doing basic operations, and I did. I got away with doing just basic operations and having like a very basic high level understanding of Git for years. I didn't feel the need to go deeper into it because a bunch of the stuff that I was doing was mainly to do with GitHub. Like I would create the repo on GitHub, and then I found out that GitHub desktop is a thing. So that made things a little more easier. I downloaded the client and started using that, and That helped me with doing basic Git operations. Like if you have very basic requirements for your Git repos and stuff, GitHub for desktop is perfect. But if there's any advanced stuff, and dude, I mean, there's a fair bit of stuff that you can do from GitHub desktop itself. You can even create like branches. From what I remember, you can even create branches from the GitHub desktop client. There's probably a bunch of other things that you can do as well that I haven't explored yet. But yeah, you can do a fair bit of stuff from GitHub desktop. But there's some much more advanced use cases that might require you to go into the Git CLI or into the Git command line. And I kind of want to learn about Git so I can understand all of the operations that are going on, but also those advanced operations. Because I feel like, okay, I had a high level understanding of Git, right? But how do I say this? So what I knew was just that, okay, you have the repo, you create the repo on GitHub, and then you can clone the repo into your, that becomes your local working copy. And then you can make your changes, and then Git will track those changes, and it'll give you the option to commit those changes, and then you can push those changes as well. But here's the interesting thing: I didn't fully understand exactly how this system was working. I didn't. It didn't occur to me that. Oh, give me a second. Sorry, I have server VT's stream running on another machine because I need some background sound and visual stimulation as well. I basically need audio and visual stimulation. So I had that stream running, and she just joined a call, and there's just a bunch of people arguing with each other. So that became a bit loud. Okay. Anyways, what was I what was I saying? I was talking about not having a proper understanding of exactly what's going on. So okay, and I got this better understanding only after reading up on Git, thanks to this Git website. You guys should definitely come and read this book that they have available. Or I think they also have like a physical copy of the book. I don't do physical books. I mainly just read stuff digitally, and I prefer to learn in that way. But yeah, you can read this. If anything, I would say like read the first two chapters. Super important. Read the first two chapters, and if you're doing it so that if you're learning Git so that you can eventually do stuff on GitHub as well, or because you are currently doing stuff on GitHub, then read the first two chapters and then jump to chapter 6. You can also read the third chapter, which is about branching. But like, I wouldn't say that you have to read all of these chapters. Like the important ones in the beginning, I would definitely say are chapter 1, chapter 2. Chapter 1 is just, it's a getting started thing, and it gives you an idea of like, it gives you like the history, and then it runs you through installing Git and setting things up and stuff like that. And then you have chapter 2, which is a super important chapter. It's the Git basics. It teaches you very basic Git operations. Um, Stuff like, of course, creating the repository, committing changes, pushing changes, pulling changes, viewing different viewing commit history. So the history of the various commits, and a bunch of other very useful stuff. And then chapter 3 goes into branching, which I'm also going to be looking into. I know the basics of branching, but I want to get a better understanding of exactly what's happening when branching is done, and also how branch merging works. Because while I have a high level understanding, um, I feel like there's still a lot more that I need to learn on the low level. This is another chapter that I'm going to be reading. Um, Actually, I don't know if it's this or if it's this. I don't remember because okay, there's I think it's in working with remotes. Yeah, it's in working with remotes. Uh, this I believe does cover what I was trying to do with setting up a Git server locally, so you can have all of your repos being tracked within like your local network. I think so. I don't remember, but yeah, I'm gonna go over this chapter as well. But yeah, this is super useful if you're trying to learn Git. Definitely read the first chapter and the second chapter. You can wait before going into the third chapter. It's not. I wouldn't say it's that important because it's more of a it's one of those things that you mainly do this after you have become a little more well versed with Git, because branching is basically you create a separate branch which tracks changes and stuff separate from the main branch. It's still an important concept to learn. You shouldn't be ignoring it, but it's not important to learn like at the very beginning. First, you need to get comfortable with the basic operations of Git, and then branching comes later on. It's still a very important concept to learn, but yeah, you don't have to rush with it. You can do chapter one, chapter two. You can optionally do chapter three, or you can come back to it later, and then definitely chapter six, which talks about setting up GitHub related stuff. If you're going to be using Git with GitHub, then yeah, you want to read this. And this is exactly what I'm planning on doing. I'm not planning on reading all these fucking chapters, dude. Like chapter one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Like, really? No, I'm not gonna. Hold on. No, it's not done. Eight, nine, 10. Okay, chapter 10 is gonna be one of those things where um, this is gonna be one of those like read in my free time. It's like read in my leisure time when I get a chance. Then I'll be reading it. Because it's got some interesting stuff, some stuff that I find interesting, which is the insides, the internals of Git, how various things work on a lower level, on a much lower level. That's why I'm interested in this, but I'll get to this piece by piece during my free time. Okay, yeah. I think I got to the topic of Git when I was talking about my VTuber app. I don't remember. Oh, another thing that I'm super excited, dude. Okay, so I've been learning about Git, right? These past 2 3 weeks, maybe I've just been. Uh, I think it was 2 weeks. I don't remember. I've been trying my best to stick to this and learn more and more about the inner workings of Git. And dude, okay, so here's the interesting thing. Wait, give me a second. Okay, what was I saying? Oh yeah. Okay. So I can't open it right now to show you guys. Oh, what I could do is I could show you the page that I'm looking at. So in VS Code, you have the sidebar. I think it's called the activity bar. Yeah, I think it's called the activity bar. It's this bar on the left side in VS Code, and I've always seen the source control tab, but I wasn't using source control from within VS Code. So I never got a chance to explore the features. To be honest, I never found it necessary to explore the features either. But then recently, after installing Git, not GitHub Desktop, Git itself, just Git. After installing Git onto my system, I installed it on multiple systems. I have two other Linux systems that I use for dev purposes. I installed it on those as well. Actually, Git comes installed on them already. I had to reinstall, but not reinstall Git itself. I had to run the install again to install everything. there's a install, I think it's git all, like that's what you want to install, and then that's going to install a bunch of the extra stuff as well, including the GUI apps. And I needed the GUI app, so that's why I ran that. But yeah, Linux does come with Git out of the box. But yeah, anyways, after installing that on two of my Linux machines and this Windows machine, I took a look at VS Code source control section, and that's where I was like, holy shit, okay, there's a whole other side of VS Code that I've just never explored. And now, after learning the basics of Git, I'm really able to appreciate that we are able to do this from within VS Code itself, dude. There's a bunch of stuff that we are able to do from within VS Code itself. I might not even need to go to GitHub desktop. Like I'm still looking into the whole setup of this. I haven't explored it a whole lot just yet because I'm currently still learning the basics. I'm still on this. No, not this. Not even this actually. This. I'm still on the first part of chapter 2. Eventually, I do want to read up on this as well, so I can start using Git from within VS Code. And dude, I'm excited. I'm excited to dive deeper into this because there's so many use cases for this. There's so much that I'm going to be using this for, especially considering the fact that I'm I'm I've recently started dividing up my projects into or splitting up my projects into like different systems. For example, I moved my so previously what I would do before starting up my stream, I would have to start up my VTuber app. I would have to start up the Twitch middleware app, and I would also need to start up my virtual Stream Deck app. I decided to move the virtual Stream Deck over to my one of my Linux systems because I was like, why not? It'll take some load off of my Windows machine, and not only that, I could probably also just do the development on there. It's not like I'm going to be doing a whole lot more development on there, but on that project, I mean. But yeah, I could just do the development on there itself. And then I was like, okay, instead of doing this whole copy paste thing that I usually do, why don't I just use Git instead? It'll make things so much easier for me. And it did because like I made the project open source, right? That's an important thing to keep in mind. I made that project open source, meaning I could contribute to that project. I could push changes to that project from any of the machines where I was logged into my GitHub account. And what was I saying? Why was I saying this? I forgot why I was saying this. Okay, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I've started splitting up my projects into different machines, and so it becomes even more important to have some kind of source control thing set up. Not only that, the more I read about Git, the more I could appreciate the fact that this is an incredibly, I mean, it's many things. Git is many things, but among many things, it is also an incredibly sophisticated backup system. And the creators of Git, and over the years, all the maintainers, the people who have been improving Git, they have made it so this system is incredibly fast and incredibly lightweight as well. It is able to store changes in such a way that you can go back to one of the previous versions of this project, and you won't even be storing like a crazy amount of data. It's because of the way that Git stores the changes. You won't be storing a crazy amount of data. and because of this, it's able to maintain like hundreds of thousands of different versions, and you can like jump, at least from what I've understood, you can jump back to any of those versions at any point in time, which makes this a really sophisticated backup system. It's again, it is many other things, not just a backup system, but it is also an incredibly sophisticated backup system. And backing up projects is something that like I have to do it like every now and then just to avoid um, permanent loss of any kind of data, because I've had stuff happen. It's a thing. It just happens. You can't really help it. Hold on. I'm gonna carry on my yapping after this 30-second ad break, because in like 25 seconds there's gonna be an ad playing. So I'm just gonna start the ad break right now, and I'll see you guys in 30 seconds. All right, welcome back. Um, what was I talking about? I was talking about Git, and Git being an incredibly sophisticated backup system. And shit, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, um, oh yeah, I was talking about avoiding permanent loss of data in your project, and thereby, you know, avoiding permanent loss of hours and hours of your work. Because I've had that happen. A bunch of other people have had that happen. It sucks. Like sometimes it just can't be helped. There'll be times where it wasn't even your fault, and something just happened because of which some data got corrupted and you lost your work. So if you don't have another backup that you took, like, I don't know, maybe a week ago or a couple of days ago, then you are in trouble. You're gonna have a bad time. So version control systems like Git can definitely be very helpful in that regard, they because they're tracking every change, because you have commits of a bunch of different bunch of different stages of progress, so you can jump back to any stage if something happens. Also, if your local project, if your local copy of the project gets corrupted, you can just pull data from the repo again and get a working copy again, or a non-corrupted copy. I'm going to be exploring a bunch of these different things, and I'm going to be setting up different types of scenarios so I can better understand Git and a bunch of the Git operations. There's certain certain, I guess, advanced operations that I need to look into. I don't know if they're advanced or not. So there's log, but there's also I think it's called reflog, and then there's something called rebase. I don't know if these are considered advanced operations or if they're something else. Um, I need to look into checkout as well, because I've seen that term mentioned here, and I need to understand exactly what that entails. Stuff like that. So I need to look into some of the what I consider more advanced stuff eventually. For now, I need to understand basic Git operations. Like, okay, it's been super interesting learning about this, because where was it? I think it was in this chapter itself that they explained, or maybe it was in, hold on. I think it was in this Git basics. Maybe not. Recording changes. This is the one. Okay. Hold on. How did I jump here? Oh, okay. I'm already done with that chapter. I was in this chapter, I think. Let me see the end of this chapter. Oh yeah, okay. This was either initializing um, a repo within a specific directory, or you could clone an existing repo, and then after that you're ready to start making changes. So here's the interesting thing, right? I I would be reading about these different terms, but I wouldn't really understand. Like back in the day when I was learning about Git, I would read about these different terms, but I wouldn't necessarily understand what these terms meant and what was going on, like staging area, for example. So here's the thing, right? Um, at least from what I've understood, the way that this is supposed to work is you have your repo, and you have some files in the repo that are currently being tracked by the version control system. Um, that is your repo, basically, the files that are being tracked by this version control system. So the version control system, I'm going to stop saying version control system. I'll just say VCS. The VCS is tracking the files, and anytime there's a change to a file, it gives you the option to add those changes to something called the staging area. And apparently, the staging area is where changes to files are tracked. If I remember right, it's just one file where a bunch of those changes are being recorded, right? So the changes get tracked. Then you have the option to commit those tracked changes to the repo. And at this point, everything is still within this local copy. So we aren't even talking about like pushing it to GitHub, because pushing, I think it only comes once. I think pushing and pulling only comes in once you add remotes, and that's also a very important concept. I'm going to be getting to that. Um, Eventually, I'll get to it. But yeah, you have the option to commit these changes. Now, once you have committed these changes, it gets added to the database, and now your that is what you're currently working with. That's your latest commit. And if you want, you have a chance to go back to one of the previous commits, or you can just view the previous commits. All of these changes get recorded, and this is explained very well, I think, here. Yeah, I think this is a good section, because this it explains the three stages. Or was it this, or was it which where was it? So there's unmodified, staged, there's unmodified, modified, and staged. Uh, in one of these sections, it explained the three stages. Give me a second. Let me just see where that was. Or was it in like the where exactly was it? I can't remember, dude. I don't think it was under summary. It was definitely within this. There were three things mentioned, and I can't seem to remember where they were. It was a pretty interesting section that I had seen. Hold on. I'm kind of confused about where I had seen that, because I had seen it. It was fairly recent. Was it like, okay? So I remember seeing this diagram, um, but there were three stages mentioned somewhere. Where exactly was that? Okay, let's take a look at summary. That's okay. That's summary. And then here we have getting a Git repository. Okay. Initializing a repo in an existing directory. Okay. All right. Great. Oh, could it be within Git internals? Okay, then there's also the option to clone. Okay, fine. Once we've cloned, where exactly was it, dude? There was something that I'd dude, now okay, so I'm focusing on this thing that is not that important, but I'm genuinely confused about uh where that was. Was it under viewing commit history? No, no, it wasn't here. Um, let's take a look at undoing things. Dude, where was it? What am I missing here? Was it here? I don't think it was here. I don't think it was here. Where did that page go, dude? Which page was it? I'm confused about which page it was. Um, let's go back to recording changes. Okay, I don't think it was unmodified, modified, and staged. You know what? Okay, let's try this. Cause dude, I remember reading this yesterday, and now suddenly the thing is just not there, and I'm not sure what. Okay, let's take a look at contributing to a project and maintaining a project. So these are GitHub specific ones. Let's see if it's mentioned here. Because I remember there were three things, like specifically three things that were mentioned. I think it said three stages or three types of changes. Maybe it wasn't GitHub specific. Uh, okay, let's try this. Okay, this is something silly that I'm focusing on now, but we're just gonna go with it. Okay, so next chapter, getting help. Okay, nope. Summary. Okay, nope. Getting a Git repo. It was not here either. Okay. What about this? Getting Git on a server. Yeah, you know what? This might be important for me to look into because I do want to set up like a local server kind of thing because not all of my projects are on not all of my projects are on GitHub. There are certain projects that I haven't uploaded to GitHub, even though GitHub does have the option for private repos. There are certain projects that I just never set up on GitHub. All right. Then we have this recording changes. At this point, you should have a bona fide Git repository on your local machine and a checkout or working copy of all of its files. Okay, so I feel like, yeah, at this point already, so it says that remember that each file in your working directory can be in one of two states. This is why I feel like I need to go back Tracked files, untracked files. Where was that thing, dude? This is a silly thing that I'm focusing on right now, but I need to figure out where exactly that was and what exactly it was. There were three stages. Wait, there's a way that I can find this. Give me a second. It wasn't three stages. It was three states, I think. And I need to search in Git SCM. I think what is the site? GitSCM.com. Okay. Uh Git three states. Oh, there it is. It was in getting started. Okay, it was in getting started. Three states. Okay, cool. Now I can stop focusing on this and wasting time. I don't know if I would call this wasting time, but yeah, there was this thing. I don't even remember at this point that why I was trying to remember this thing. But yeah, it mentioned this. Pay attention now. Here's the main thing to remember about Git. If you want the rest of your learning process to go smoothly, Git has three main states that your files can reside in: modified, staged, and committed. Modified means that you can change the file, but have not committed it yet to your database, or have not committed it to your database yet. Staged means that you have marked a modified file in its current version to go into your next commit snapshot, and committed means that the data is safely stored in your local database. This is interesting. This is in chapter one, and this entire chapter itself is, well, I mean, this specific subchapter of this chapter is also pretty interesting because it goes into the difference between how Git works versus how some other VCSs work, or how some other systems, let's say, I don't know if they're specifically VCSs or, oh, it says here the difference between Git and any other VCS. Yeah. Okay. So it was kind of interesting learning about this because apparently Git what Git stores is, at least from my understanding, what Git stores is um, when there's a change to a certain file, that file is going to be part of the new snapshot. But any files that have not been changed, you'll only have a link to those files. You won't have those new files themselves, if that makes sense. Or rather, I should say, only the changes in those files get recorded. I'm not entirely sure which one exactly it is. I think it's the entire file that gets recorded, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to look into that. But there's a diagram here to explain how that works. This also helps explain. It mentions Git generally only adds data. Actually, now that I think back on it, I don't know if that explains it very well. There was a diagram here that explained it. So you have these different versions, right? You have this repo. The repo has three files, and these are all different versions of this repo. So in version one, you have file A, file B, and file C. In version two, you have made changes to file A and file C, so that becomes A1 and C1, but B has not been changed, so we're just storing a link to the previous version of B. We're not storing B itself, right? Then in the next version, we haven't made any changes to A1, so we store a link to A1, and again, with B, we haven't made changes, so we store a link to B. And in C or in C1, we have made changes, so we store C1. We don't store a link to it. or we, well, what did I just say? We have made changes to we have made changes to C1, so we store those changes as C2. We are not storing a link to C1. Now, again, something I need to find out is if it's storing just the changes or it's storing the entire file. I'm going to need to dig a little deeper to understand that. But either way, even just regardless which one it is, I can kind of see why they have such a fast system and why they have such why they how they're able to make the storage much lower, because this is not at all the same as making a whole copy of the entire repo, if that makes sense. It's not at all the same thing. Like all you're doing is recording changes, and that's great, dude. That's crazy. Like the way that this system is set up, it really made me appreciate, like reading all of this is really making me appreciate Git in general. And that's why I'm so excited to explore Git much more. I'm kind of glad that I took the time to learn more about Git, get a deeper understanding, because now I can actually say that, dude, all these years I didn't know jack shit about Git. I mean, I knew stuff, um, but it was a very high level understanding. So again, I didn't know jack shit about Git. At least that's the way I'm looking at it right now, because now that I have a better understanding, a more low level understanding, and not just a higher level understanding, I can really appreciate the way things work in Git. And now I'm also going to be able to use it for a bunch of my other projects. I 100% plan on doing this with a bunch of different projects. Um, Most of the projects that I'm doing work on, I think I'm going to be setting up. Uh, I'm going to be setting up repos for each and every one of them. Um, what was I saying? Yeah, all of the projects that I'm currently working on, I'm going to be setting up. I'm going to be setting up a repo for all of them, or I'm going to be setting up a repo for each one of them. And what I also want to do is pick one of my systems on which I'm going to be running a Git server. And I think it's going to be the system on which I'm currently. How do I even describe this to you guys? Like, as if you guys are going to know which system I'm talking about. But yeah, the other one of my other Linux machines on which I'm currently running um, my virtual Stream Deck app. I because I have more processing power available there, I'm gonna set up the Git server there. But to be honest, I don't think I would need to. So okay, before getting into Git, before even understanding Git, I had this thing in my mind. I was thinking about it from like a GitHub point of view, where you have the remote repository, and then you clone it and you make a working copy for yourself, and then you're working on that working copy, and then you make changes, you commit the changes, and then you push those changes, right? You push the changes to that remote repository. Hold on, I'm starting to lose track of what I was saying again. Why was I saying this? Why was I saying this? Yeah, okay. So I was working, I was going based off of that kind of thinking that each time there's going to have to be a server that hosts these files, that hosts this repo. But that's not necessary because of the way Git works, because of the way this VCS itself works. You don't need to have like a separate. I mean, you can have it if you want to have one, but it's not a necessity. The whole idea with setting up uh, repos for each of my projects is so that there's a version control system that's tracking the changes, and that VCS by itself is it's a backup system, right? So all the backups are right there. Unless I really want to back up these projects in a specific location, I don't need to have remote repositories set up for all of them. And there's a script that I'm going to be working on for um, for creating my backups. I think I can work on that script on stream. Yeah, I think I should be able to work on that script on stream because that script, what it's going to do is it's gonna crawl through specific directories that I mentioned, and in those directories, it's gonna look for projects and make backups of them. Um, but I need to figure out a good way to recognize when a folder is a Unity project folder, and then ignore certain folders within that folder for copying, because the whole idea is to copy a whole bunch of directories, a whole bunch of folders and their files. But in Unity projects, there are certain folders that you don't need to copy. Stuff like the library folder, the OBJ folder, I think it's called. I don't remember. And there were two or three more folders. I can look for these folders, or rather, so first I need to figure out a way to determine that a folder that we are currently uh, crawling, I guess is the best term to use. I need to figure out if the folder that we are currently crawling is a Unity project, and if it is a Unity project, then I can write a set of rules that, okay, ignore these specific folders within this folder. And the main reason I would want to do that is because, just as an example, the library folder, it contains not 10, not hundreds, but thousands of files sometimes. I'm not even exaggerating about that. I've had that happen. These are thousands and thousands of sometimes very tiny files, but just the fact that there are so many files, and my system doesn't do so well with file IO. So when there's all that many files, then it's going to take hours to copy. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to avoid. And that's also one of the reasons why I have to write this script in the first place, because what I'm backing up is my projects, and my projects, they don't just contain Unity projects. Sometimes they contain a mixture of a bunch of different projects, or rather, they contain a mixture of projects from a bunch of different apps. I guess that's the best way to put it. A very good example of this is a VR Chat World project. So that one project, right, within that one project folder, I'm going to have two or three different types of projects. First of all, I'm going to have the Unity project that um, for that VR chat world, because the world has to be set up in Unity and then uploaded from Unity, right? If it's a 3D world, which it's a VR chat world, so a 3D world, because it's a 3D world, um, I might be working on stuff in Blender, right? So then there's going to be a Blender project, maybe multiple Blender projects. That has to be a separate thing of its own. If there's any 2D related stuff that I need to do, any graphic design or drawing textures or painting, anything that's drawing related, I use Krita for that. So then there's going to be one or more Krita projects, and that's going to be a separate thing. And then there's maybe I might have something audio related as well. That might have a separate projects folder. All of that stuff pertains to one pertains to one project, right? The main project here is the VR chat world, but within that we have all of these sub projects that make up that VR chat world project, right? So I have multiple such projects, and okay, I was about to say that I'm not the only one who has this, but like that's unnecessary to say. Like, who gives a shit? I'm mainly talking about my own backups here, so like it doesn't make any sense saying that. Uh, what was I saying? Yeah, so I want to write a script that's going to crawl through specific directories that I mentioned, and within those directories, it's going to look for. Um, it's basically going to copy those entire directories. However, it's going to crawl through all of the directories and their subdirectories to find Unity files or Unity projects. Yeah. It's going to try and find Unity projects. And whenever it finds a Unity project, it's going to pick specific folders to ignore. And then it's going to do the entire copy. Now, I need to figure out a good way to go about doing this. I'm still not sure what's a decent way to go about setting up something like this. But like at some point, I do want to work on something that does this. And I think the best language slash tool for the job would be Python, because I can, yeah. Okay, I don't know if I would say best necessarily, but it's one that I would be super comfortable working with. And the language is just much more, it's much more concise, let's say. So it's not very wordy. I guess that's the best way to put it. So Python, I've said this before, it's great for doing, I mean, it's great for a bunch of different things, but one of the many things that I like about it is that it's great for quick and dirty coding. And in this specific instance, I definitely wouldn't mind quick and dirty coding. So in this specific instance, I don't need to give too much of a shit about performance, because I'm more concerned with whether the script works or not. As long as the script works, as long as the script is doing what it's supposed to do, and the task that I was trying to accomplish is being accomplished, I don't really give a shit about how long it takes. There is, I mean, to a certain extent, I don't give a shit. I do give a shit when I have to copy, thousands and thousands of files, which is why I'm trying to mitigate that issue. I'm trying to write logic that's going to recognize when a folder that's being copied is a Unity project, and then it's going to selectively ignore certain folders and just, you know, yeah. And you know what? Maybe I might make this project, this script open source, because why the hell not, right? If I have, I don't know if that came through on the mic. I was my hand hit one of my boards, but anyways, um, what was I saying? Yeah, if I have use for this kind of a thing, then I'm guessing other people might have use for it as well. To be fair, at this point in time, I'm pretty sure a bunch of other people have made similar scripts to do similar things, and those scripts might also be much more sophisticated than mine. Not necessarily only scripts; they could also be like binaries. They could be full programs with like GUI and stuff like that. But mine is just going to be a script. It doesn't have to be anything more than that, because I have very specific requirements, and my script is going to satisfy those requirements. And as time goes by, I can. So okay, here's what I'm thinking. Right, the script is gonna crawl through. It's gonna crawl through the subdirectories of specific or certain directories that I specify. Give me a second. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna crawl through specific directories that I specify, right? And in those directories, it's gonna look for subdirectories, and each time it finds a subdirectory, it's gonna well, first of all, explore other subdirectories as well, but it's going to try and recognize if a specific directory that it's currently crawling a is a Unity project or not. And I don't need to limit it to just a Unity project. I can also run a check to see if there's a Blender project, or if there's a Krita project. Like I can write rules, I can write logic for the script to recognize if a specific folder is a Unity project or a Blender project or whatever. Sorry, zoned out. So, Yeah, I was talking about sharing this script, right? So if somebody else has like a specific use case, like specific types of projects that they are trying to recognize, and they can write their own code to recognize if a specific folder that's being crawled through is um, is a Unity project or a Blender project or what. I don't know. Maybe I could make like a separate class or something that does this recognizing work. Recognition, is that a word? Recognition, recognition that does the recognition work. Because there's going to be like with Unity projects, for example. Um, there's a bunch of different ways that you can recognize that a file is or a folder is a Unity project. So you could check if certain folders are present. You can check if there's a solution file present. You can check if there's. I'm gonna have to look into like proper like uh, fail safe, foolproof. I'm not sure what term to use. Proper methods, accurate methods for or good methods for accurately identifying a Unity project, and then I'm gonna create a method that basically uses those rules or those methods. Um, but yeah, yeah. How did I start talking about this backup script? Oh yeah, I was saying that okay, even though I'm setting up repos for a bunch of my different projects, I'm still gonna need to set up that Python project that I wanted to work on for this because this is important because it's necessary for me to be able to take like the physical backups of of my entire like project directory because uh there's certain directories that like I absolutely need to make a backup of them just in case of data loss. Like at some point in time, if things go wrong, unfortunately, somehow, I don't know what's a good way to explain that. But yeah, if that does happen, then I would definitely want to have a physical backup. Another thing that would be interesting to employ in this backup script is the use of threading. So I'm going to need to see if, but because this is file IO related stuff, I need to see to what extent threading is going to help. Because there are a bunch of different scenarios where threading can help. Because there are multiple different directories that are being used or that are being copied, right? So what I could do is create multiple threads and like dispatch them to copy these specific directories and then return their results once everything is done. That way I could like divide the load among multiple cores and hopefully speed up the copying process. Yeah, yeah. And I could probably also have some logic in there to mention which folders should be which folders should I be or should the script be using threading for. I could do that. Yeah, yeah. I'm still not sure how to go about that in a more generalized way, in a way that'll somehow apply to all of the situations. I don't know if this is making any sense, but like in my head, it's making sense. I'm just not able to explain it very well. Either way, back to Git. I was done with chapter 2.1, I believe, because that talks about initializing the repo and either initializing or cloning. a repo. And now we are moving on to this chapter. I don't know if we are going to be moving on to this chapter because I don't think I was done talking about this thing that I was talking about here. Give me a second. Let me. Oh, my system is freezing. Okay, cool. We are back. Uh, Give me a sec. Okay, yeah, there it is. Great. So, right. So more progress on the VTuber app. I remember, I think from here is where I sort of branched out into talking about Git because I'm planning on eventually, once I have a better idea of how to use Git by itself, and once I have a better understanding of how things work on the lower level, um, I want to set up a Git repo for my VTuber project, for my VTuber app project. And that'll include like all of the other stuff. If there's like Blender projects, if there's Krita projects, stuff like that, everything is included in there. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, yeah. And eventually, I would like to also move this project over to my Linux machine so I can do my main deving on that machine. Unfortunately, things are a tiny bit slow on that machine when I try to move around in the scene because I'm using one of the SRPs, one of the scriptable render pipelines. Specifically, I'm using URP, the Universal Render Pipeline. Either way, it's a scriptable render pipeline, so I have to use Vulkan to run the project, and that is unfortunately not as fast as OpenGL. I don't know if that's accurate to say, but what I'm not trying to say that Vulkan is slower than OpenGL. What I'm saying is that when I launch my VTuber app project that uses Universal Render Pipeline, when I launch that on the Unity editor on Linux, it is slow. I have to use Vulkan to open up the project because otherwise I get a whole bunch of like artifacting and stuff and a whole bunch of errors. So I have to use Vulkan. But unfortunately, things are a tiny bit slow when I'm moving around in the scene. So if I have to, like, for example, design UI, which to be honest, I don't usually do that, so it's not that big of a problem. But yeah, anything that I need to do in the scene, any work that I need to do in the scene, it's going to be slow. But this is important. Everything else is fast. Everything else works great. It's just within the scene itself, for whatever reason, things are a tiny bit slow. Moving around in the scene, things are a tiny bit slow. But everything else, it is, it's fast as hell. Like I can open up VFX graph, right? I can work on the VFX graph, but when I'm viewing that VFX graph in the scene, things become slow again. So yeah, that's one of the things. Also, the VTuber app, I feel like it's one of the use cases where I would need to set up a Git server and then be able to access that server from another machine. But to be honest, I don't really think I would need to do that either because mainly on my other machine, the quote unquote access that I need is access to builds. I don't need access to the project itself. I just need access to the builds. Yeah, I'm also gonna have to look into like save files and stuff like that because I did recently set up a data storage system in the VTuber app. But yeah, okay, the whole point, without going into like way too much details, which I've already done, I'm planning on moving this project over to my Linux machine, And the good news is I can then also stream that because I've now set up the RTMP server and I'm able to stream, Unity Linux stuff from that machine. And like I can stream that over to Windows and from Windows to Twitch. I've already, I believe I already demonstrated that in my previous stream or in the stream before that. I don't remember. Give me a second. Okay. Right. So my VTuber app, I'm going to be moving it over to Linux hopefully soon. Before setting up the repo for my VTuber app project, I definitely want to get a hang of Git in general. So I feel like I might be doing a couple of Git specific streams where I mean, as it is, I'm doing some Git study streams as well, right? But yeah, I'm probably going to be doing a couple of Git specific streams because there's a bunch of things to explore here. Not just Git features, but also other apps that I can use to do Git stuff with. Um, One example is I forgot what it's called, but it's a Git related GUI on Windows. I believe that got installed with my basic Git installation. There are two well, there are some, there are two on Linux as well that get installed. I don't remember if both of them get installed with the Git all installation thing or if it's just one of them. I believe Git K definitely got installed, which Git TK I think it is. But yeah, I think that definitely got installed. There was another GUI as well. I don't remember if that got installed. Either way, that's one example of Git related GUI. Another example is VS Code. I need to look into how VS Code supports Git because apparently there's, once again, let me move over to this thing. There's a whole lot that you can do in terms of source control, dude. Like this is amazing. This is great. It's like source control functionality is built within VS Code. And like anyone who's watching this, uh, or like anyone who's watching the stream right now, or anyone who might be watching the VOD, and they're well versed with Git and they've been using this for a while, you might find it funny that I'm looking at this and getting excited about it because like VS Code has had version control features for a while, source control features for a while, right? The thing is, I just never used it. It's been there. It's one of those things that from the day that I installed VS Code, which was years ago, I saw I saw the source control option. I just never used it because like I didn't need to. But now that I'm using it, or now that I've started exploring it, and now that I'm getting a better idea of how Git works, I'm able to appreciate the features that we've been given in terms of source control. So I'm glad that VS Code does have certain, Git related features. I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna have to see. I was about to say I'm gonna have to see how limiting they are, but like I don't think they're gonna be all that limiting. Saying how limiting they are makes it seem like it's probably very limiting, but honestly, I don't think it's gonna be all that limiting. I think there's gonna be a fair bit of stuff that I'm able to do. One thing that I was super happy about was being able to see the graph, the source control graph. Look at this. I was able to see this for my virtual Stream Deck app, and there's a bunch of other things as well. Like, for example, writing commits, and oh, writing commits is also it's an important thing that I need to. Um, that's one of the things that I was anyways going to be using VS Code for. But this is also one of the reasons why I probably won't be using Git from just the Bash window or just the command prompt window. I'm definitely going to be using Git from within VS Code itself because not Git, but VS Code has its own terminal thing. So from within that terminal, I can then access all the source control related stuff. I also need to see if VS Code gives like Git specific command lines or Git specific terminals or whatever. And then yeah, it seems like a bunch of the Git stuff I'm going to be able to practice it through VS Code. So I'm going to be simultaneously learning about both, well, Git in general, but also Git through VS Code. And at some point later, I can look into the Git related GUIs. I've also already explored GitHub for desktop or GitHub desktop, GitHub for desktop, just GitHub desktop, whatever. I've already I've been using GitHub desktop for quite a while now, on and off, but quite a while. So I've explored a bunch of the different features in it. Maybe not the advanced features, so that's something I should be looking into. Once I do learn some of the more advanced features, at least advanced to me. Once I do learn them, then yeah, I can look for them in. But yeah, okay. The point is, there's quite a bit to explore in terms of Git. So I feel like I'm going to be spending some time doing all of this. The thing is, I don't want to end up spending too much time on this because I do want to get back to what we were initially doing a while back before I got distracted with a bunch of different things. Um, which is, I believe, we were going through the Hugging Face small course, I believe, and I was also supposed to get back to doing neural network stuff and learning basic neural network architectures like well, of course, I already know feed forward neural networks. I just need to practice them more and and explore the different components, the different methods in it. But not just feed forward neural networks, but also convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks, and more advanced stuff like transformers, um, and stuff like that. Yeah, we were supposed to be doing that. We were also supposed to be doing data science stuff, dude. There's so much that, dude. You know what I'm thinking? As much as I like this whole like chaotic way of doing stuff, like I basically just get distracted and do whatever whenever whatever I feel like doing on a specific day on stream. What I was thinking is what if I divided up the stream into for now let's say two segments. Okay. Um One segment can be whatever I was planning on studying that day, and the second segment can be one of the two. Either I'll pick a day. Okay, hold on. We need to write this down. We need to write this down so I can imagine this better. Um, let's create a new markdown thing here. Okay, so we can divide up the stream into, because I don't stream for that long anyways. So here's what we can do. Okay, first of all, there's two ways that I can go about this. One is because I have because the amount of time that I can do talking streams for is limited. First of all, because of my physical ability to continue talking for a long amount of time, um, or my physical inability. I don't know, that makes it sound more serious than it is. It's just that my vocal cords get stressed out, and then I'm not able to talk for very long without it starting to become painful. So I guess physical inability to talk for too long. But yeah, one of the reasons is my physical inability to talk for too long. Another reason is something else as well. I don't know why I went into it when I wasn't about to say it anyways. But yeah, there's multiple reasons why the amount of time that I can do talking streams is kind of limited to anywhere between an hour and a half to 2.5 hours, or maybe 3 hours on a good day. But that's also a stretch, right? Um, because the amount of time is limited, one thing that I could do is I could do the talking stream when I'm able to do the talking stream, and then I can do a mute stream where I'm doing one of two things: exploring data science related techniques, or sorry, zoned out. Okay, or experimenting with uh, neural network architectures. Um, yeah. So, okay, in here I should probably add something. Pick one lol, just so I don't, branch out a whole lot. I can pick one specific thing because one by itself is going to be way too much for me to, explore, way too much for me to go into. Um, Now, okay. Oh, yeah. Also, here, pick one, lol. Okay. What was I saying? Right. So, this is gonna give me a reason to do both of these things, right? I'm gonna incorporate this into the stream somehow. So, other than doing my usual thing where I'm studying something, I want to dedicate a small amount of time to either exploring a data science related technique or experimenting a little bit with neural network architectures. Because I feel like as I start doing these things a little more and more, I'm going to get more familiarized with more, first of all, more neural network related stuff, but also with more data science techniques, because there's so much that I haven't yet explored. And fortunately, because of various data science related people that I follow on social media, mainly threads now, but also on Twitter, I've been coming across various data science related techniques and topics and methods and stuff like that. And each time I come across one of them, I look it up and I get a basic understanding of it, a brief understanding, but I also try to see if it's possible to do that using scikit-learn. And in a lot of the cases, it has actually been possible. So it's one of those things where I need to just start exploring more data science stuff with scikit-learn again. Something else also that I wanted to do, and I'm still not sure how I'm going to go about doing this because this is going to be a huge time sink. In a good way though. It's going to be a huge time sink, but it's going to be fun for me to do, and hopefully it's going to be a little educational. I might learn something from it. I wanted to do this thing where I pick a data set from Kaggle and just explore the data set. Just learn and try to understand things about the data set itself. I also, there's this thing that I've been trying to get into. It's exploring a data set, and either a data set, that doesn't have labels, an unlabeled data set, or a data set that has labels, but I intentionally ignore the labels. And basically the idea is that I should be looking at an unlabeled data set, and then I use various data science methods to try and find patterns in that data, try and find the relationship between the various variables in the data, and also any kinds of patterns that the data might be forming. I don't know. There's something I find interesting about that whole concept, and I kind of want to make that, just like a I don't know, pastime kind of thing. Maybe I could dedicate a small amount of time for that on stream as well. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that. And here's the interesting thing, right? As much as I want to, as much as I want to, what was I saying? Okay, there's going to be an ad playing in like 30 seconds. I'm going to hold on to this thought. Wait, let's not forget the thought. Talking streams. Yes, as much as I want to do these, as much as I want to do these, all of these different types of streams during my talking streams, I won't be able to. Okay, right. So I'll see you guys in 30 seconds. I'm clicking the add button. So yeah, I'll see you guys in 30 seconds. All right. Welcome back. I think you guys are back. Hold on. Yeah, welcome back. I'm gonna get back to what I was just about to say. Just give me a second. Just a second. Okay, yeah. So, like I was saying, as much as I would like to, as much as I would like to do a bunch of these streams, you know what? Yeah, let me also write that down. So, um, what was it supposed to be? Explore Kaggle datasets. Either use unlabeled datasets or ignore labels. Find patterns and relationships in datasets. Okay, now, as much as I would love to do all of these things during my talking streams, I feel like if I don't do these during talking streams, I might be able to dedicate some more time to it, if that makes sense. Because, okay, what I was thinking initially was either I can pick. So, okay, initially the idea that I had was okay, so I'm doing my stream, right? I'll I'll divide the stream into segments. For now, two segments. One is going to be the main segment where I'm doing my usual study stuff, and the other is going to be my like little, I don't know, half an hour or 1 hour kind of segment where I do either one of these things, either explore data science related techniques or experiment with neural network architectures or explore Kaggle datasets. But I feel like giving just 1 hour to it, I don't know if that's going to be, I'm not too sure about that. I'm not like, because, okay, giving 1 hour to it is great, but like, oh, okay. So there's, okay, fine. Wait. So there's multiple thoughts here. Let me write down the thoughts. So one way to go about it that I had was one stream. Maybe I shouldn't be writing it like this. Uh, right. Okay. One stream and sorry, one stream and two segments. Okay. Another way that I thought was um, two streams. One oh my, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's just say multiple streams. Multiple streams. No. Okay. Fine. Sorry. Um, two streams. Um, one talking stream, one mute stream. Okay, we can further divide this, right? So one talking stream where we do the regular studies, and then the other one can be a mute stream where we do one of the above things, right? However, another way that we could go about this is, right, so we could do one of the above things or all three of the above things. So then that would be a 3 hour stream. Yeah, that would be a 3 hour stream where I divide that up into 1 hour segments for each one of these things. So I give 1 hour to data science related techniques where we just explore one data science related technique. I don't know if 1 hour is enough. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, so here's the thing, right? We could do like, okay, yeah, we could do two streams, right? Divided up into two streams. One of them is going to be a talking stream, and the other is going to be a mute stream where I'm going to be doing either one of these three things or all three of them in 1 hour increments, 1 hour segments. Right? There's pros and cons for each. Um, yeah, there's pros and cons for each. Yeah, because I could dedicate, like, if I'm making it, if I do it like, one day data science, one day neural network, one day exploring data sets, I would then be able to dedicate 2 or 3 hours to that one thing on that one day, right? That way I'll be able to give more time to something to sort of explore it and study it and understand it and stuff like that. Because I don't want to do something just for the sake of doing it, if that makes sense. I like I don't want to rush through it just to be able to say, okay, I did it. No, the whole idea is for me to explore and learn and also have fun with it because I enjoy learning. And just rushing it doesn't. I don't know how I feel about that. Um, Actually, I do know how I feel about that. I don't like it. Yeah, I do know how I feel about that. I do not like that. So I don't think I'm gonna do that. The thing is, So what I don't like about it is that I'm rushing through it, right? But I think whether I'm having to rush through it or not would be determined by whether 1 hour is enough or not. I think I should also take into account my tendency to get distracted with things. So I think 1 hour is not going to be enough because I'm right now I'm thinking that okay, I'm going to be dedicating 1 hour to this thing, but my that's not how my brain works. Like my concentration is just like, non-existent. And so I'm going to be jumping from one thing to another to another. And so 1 hour can just go by just like that. Yeah, you know what? We could yeah, okay. So here's what we can do. Okay, we can give this a we can give this a name. Like this segment, we can give it a name. What should we call this? There's a couple of things we can call it. Uh let's say name suggestions. Um Experiment time. Uh Exploration time. Oh, you know what? Because I have zero creativity, I don't, I'm just, that's just a joke, but like, because I have zero creativity, what I can do is ask Llama. Um, Give it a second. Okay, cool. Um, I stream. I'm planning on introducing a segment in my streams. Yeah, where I do one of the following: explore a data science method, um, experiment with a neural network architecture, or um, do data analysis and exploration. Actually, I don't want to add another and in there. Or explore a Kaggle data set to find patterns and relationships in the data. I need name suggestions. This is so stupid. Why am I doing this? But anyways, okay. I need name suggestions for what to call this segment. What did I just type? Yeah, this segment. Okay. Um, Data science deep dive, neural network navigator, Kaggle data. Hold on, dude. Data discovery hour, AI experimentation station, data science lab. Dude, I like that name. This name suggests a hands-on experimental approach to exploring data science methods and datasets. Pattern pursuit, tech trek. Okay, hold on. Let's stick with this. These are great. Can you also suggest uh, some names that somehow um, encompass, is that the word? Encompass all three of the things I mentioned. I don't know if the LLM is going to know what I was talking about when I said all three. Um, Dude, honestly, Data Science Lab is great. Data Science Lab is a great name. I like that name because it can technically apply to all three of the things. Yeah, it can definitely apply to all three of the things. To create a segment name that encompasses exploring data science methods. Okay, all right, good. Good to know that the LLM is able to remember. Dude, this is something I need to explore more. Yes. Okay, all right. Well, no, okay, wait. Let me clarify what exactly I was talking about with exploring more. So, this is something I need to explore more with LLMs. It's how they're able to maintain that context, like remember something from a previous message, remember the context of the conversation, how they're able to, yeah, how they're able to maintain the context for however long they do. It's not very long, but like for however long they do maintain the context, how they're able to maintain that context, what is going on internally that enables that happening. Of course, this will mean that we need to study language models in general and make our own language models, which I 100% plan on doing. I plan on exploring this so much more. But yeah, okay. To create a segment, to create a segment name that encompasses exploration, that encompasses exploring data science methods, experimenting with neural network architectures, and analyzing Kaggle datasets. Here are some suggestions that integrate these concepts. Data Science Odyssey. This name suggests a journey through various aspects of data science, including methods, neural networks, and data analysis and dataset analysis. AI and data exploration. Oh, that's a cool name. Neural Data Quest. And then, of course, there's Data Science Lab. I like that in the beginning as well. AI Data Dive. That's interesting. Insight Engine. Uh, Not feeling this one too much. This kind of sounds like buzzwords. I I don't know. It kind of sounds like buzzwords. Data discovery and AI experiments. I like that. I like that. Data discovery and AI experiments, data science and AI explorations. That works too. Actually, that works. Data science and AI explorations. Okay, based on these, I could come up with my own thing, right? How about data science lab? Okay, so I mean, this is something silly to focus on, but I mean, no, okay, it's not really silly. It's for my stream. So, yeah. Here are here's what we could go with, right? Uh, Data science lab, exploration and experimentation. Yeah, that could be the name. It's a bit of a long name, but this is going to be for the mute segment, so it's going to be mute this and then wow, that's going to be long, dude. Holy shit. Wait, that's going to be long. Data science lab exploration. How many characters is this? Okay, I can't count this, but okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 45. I think it's 49. So let's say 50 characters. Um, how many characters is this? Give me a sec. I think I have, okay, I don't think I have VS Code open. Oh, you know what? I wonder if an LLM is able to count characters. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, so first stream of 2025, have some yapperoni. Count the number of characters within the quotes. Oh God, don't. Oh, holy shit, what are you doing? Oh, okay, that's interesting. It showed its like thought process kind of. I like that. It showed its work, for lack of a better term. But okay, that's 43 characters. Yeah, okay. You know what? That works. That works. Um, now let's try this. Uh, count the number of characters within the quotes. 57. Okay, sure. That works. This was something incredibly silly that I just focused on. That we just spent time doing, but we did it. So this is what I'm gonna title the mute segments. I still have to decide if I want to make it one long 3 hour stream divided into 1 1 hour segments, or if I want to just make it a 2 hour stream where I pick one of these things to do. Either explore a data science related technique, or experiment with neural network architectures, or explore Kaggle datasets. I'm not sure which one I'm going to do. Um, Let me think on this a little bit. I'm still not sure because I kind of want to give myself enough time to do something, you know? I don't know if that makes sense. I want to give myself enough time to like do what I'm trying to do. Um and, take my time with it and be able to enjoy it and stuff like that. I don't want to rush. And I feel like one 3 hour stream um divided up into 1 1 hour segments, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be, yeah, no. I don't I don't think I want to do that. I feel like it's going to be I'm going to be rushing, and I just don't, yeah, no. I don't want to do that. Okay. Give me a second. Okay. Here's what we are gonna do. Okay, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this is gonna go. Hopefully it goes well. Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna raid this person. They're called Mahedi. Mahedi. I'm not sure. Uh, we're gonna raid this person. They're doing a co-working and chaos lurking. They're doing a co-working and studying stream, which we do study streams and co-working streams as well. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today. I'm gonna think on this a little bit. I kind of like this idea because this is gonna make it so I'm able to do both of these things, like both doing the study streams but also doing the exploration stuff that I want to do, and I'm gonna be able to do it on stream, which is great. But yeah, I'm gonna think on this whether I want to squeeze three 1 hour segments into one stream, or if I just want to do one like long 2 hour segment where I pick one of these things and just do that on that day. That being said, that's gonna be it for today's stream. Qtane, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you being here. Anyone else who might have been lurking in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Um, yeah, hopefully I'm gonna be streaming a lot more because that's one of the things that I intend to do in 2025. Hopefully it goes that way. But that being said, I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.